So this video is Martha Part 2. It's a follow-up from my first video where the comment section was very thought-provoking and funny and inspiring and heartbreaking too. I want to take a look at some of these comments because it made me aware that I wasn't clear about some things, and some of you asked me some questions that I do want to answer. And these are things about Martha's self-harm that I missed and me questioning her career. Some of you said that you could relate to part of Martha's behaviors, and some of you said that you know people who are like Martha. Thank you all so much for sharing your insights and your experiences. I really do appreciate it. So I'm going to start with the comment that questions me about saying I didn't think she was a lawyer in real life, and I want to clarify. Here's the comment that says she could well have been to law school. Being unwell doesn't make you stupid. Some of the smartest people I know are mentally unwell. And yes, you are right. And I didn't think she was really a lawyer because I was hoping they kept that part of her identity under wraps for issues of confidentiality. But I'm aware that that didn't happen. And I did not mean to insinuate that she wasn't smart. I thought maybe she'd gone to med school. So I haven't looked her up, but I know that other people have, and it looks like she did go to law school. So I was wrong about that. But I also think that her symptoms must have gotten worse after she graduated. Someone said that it was very soon after law school that she started stalking someone, and there's so much that we really don't know about her. According to Richard Gadd, this incident with her happened around 2015, and that's almost 10 years ago. So from the math I've done, I think she would have been around 48 years old when she started stalking him. And if she graduated law school around the age of 25, that's over 20 years of her life that we know nothing about. Has she been working? Who knows? It does seem that she wasn't working during the time she was stalking Donny. She wouldn't have had time to work. Okay, and I love this comment. She says, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. Well, in some cases it does. So she's referring to this being the last statement of the video I made about Martha and asking people to be kind in the comments. And I said, it doesn't cost anything to be kind, but as we can see, it does sometimes cost us. And I thought that comment was hilarious, and everybody else did too. But I've gotten death threats in my comments before and harassed, and I'm sure you've seen how brutal people can be in comments all over the internet. So this just sort of comes with the territory these days. I'm used to it. And this person wrote, it seems more a cluster B personality disorder with episodes of depression than bipolar to me. She had strong elements of emotionally unstable personality disorder combined with vulnerable covert narcissism. Her actions were actually very calculated, like thinking to record all of their interactions and knowing how to handle the police when they clamp down on her. Someone in a manic episode is likely to not be that calculating and be even more chaotic, in my opinion. I really appreciate the way he shared his perspective without trying to be rude to me like some people were. I really do enjoy hearing other people's perspective of things, and I really just wanted to open up a dialogue about this. So cluster B traits can include traits of histrionic, narcissism, antisocial, and borderline personality disorder. Sometimes when a professional is diagnosing, they will note that it's cluster B traits when it's just hard to nail down exactly which one it is. So that does make more sense to me. She does have traits of narcissism. And with narcissism usually comes the BPD traits. There's a lot of crossover here with those. And I got the feeling from the comment section that people felt like we had to choose either bipolar, BPD, or erotomania. And I was stating that I thought there were signs of all three together. And yes, bipolar is often misdiagnosed when it's BPD, but you can have both together, and someone with bipolar can have manic rage too. I'm also very aware that there are so many things that I do not know about Martha. I'm looking at this as a character on a TV show, although I know it is based on a real life person. Let's see, just based on what I could see in this show, she wasn't working, the way she was living with a super messy house, no other friends, seemed like she was really lonely. It seems like she had, I remember seeing 6 or 7 phones in her drawer. It just seemed like there's a lot going on here. She could very well have what is referred to as low functioning personality disorder. But there are a lot of people with personality disorders that are high functioning too. Again, I want to add that all disorders are on a spectrum. They can be mild, moderate, or severe. I meet people every day with personality disorders who manage their symptoms, have insight, and they are doing quite well. Also, a few people in the comment section were very upset with me even attempting to open the conversation about diagnosing her and saying that I wasn't qualified to diagnose. So I did learn something new. I learned that in Canada and in some other countries, licensed therapists aren't allowed to diagnose mental health issues. But in the US, we are allowed to diagnose, and for the most part, we have to diagnose. If I want to bill insurance for anybody's treatment, I have to diagnose them. And we don't have enough psychologists and psychiatrists in the US or nurse practitioners to go around to diagnose everybody who just wants to come to therapy. Typically in the US, though, someone like Martha would not be entering the mental health system through a private practice clinician like me. Somebody with her type of symptoms usually ends up seeking treatment through a hospital or the criminal justice system. Then they get a referral to a different level of care, more than just outpatient counseling. Okay, so here's another comment. Someone else says here, I would have thought BPD rather than bipolar. And I guess I addressed that already. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both, but it could just be BPD. And a lot of people corrected me about Martha's self-harming behaviors. This person said, would hitting herself count as self-harm? And someone else mentioned that her calling herself names and also sitting in the cold for hours could be considered self-harm. And I did say in my video about Martha that I didn't see a lot of self-harm with Martha, and I'm just used to seeing people with BPD have more self-harming behaviors. But yes, those things are considered self-harm, and thank you for pointing that out. If we look at the criteria for borderline personality disorder, that is just one of the criteria. So let's look at the criteria here in the DSM. Number 5 says recurrent suicidal behaviors, gestures, or threats, or self-mutilating behavior. A person only has to meet 5 of the 9 criteria in order to be diagnosed with this. And I'm just really used to seeing this criteria be met. Also, if you notice, none of these criteria cover her grandiosity and fantastical thinking. So that's when the narcissism would come in. And that's where I was thinking this could be a manic or hypomanic episode because of the grandiosity and the uncontrollable excitement and rapid speech. And her following him around at work for several days in a row and getting there early to follow him around. But other people see this as just being a part of her narcissism. So I get that. There's just going to be different perspectives of this. And you all have really good points here, and none of us have all the information, of course. I just enjoy the topic a lot in hearing other people's perspectives. So let's just hope she gets the help that she needs and that people will leave her alone. Thank you so much for watching. And if there are any other shows you'd like for me to respond to or review, just leave a comment and I'll see if it's something I can do. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.